is moving east at about 35 to 45 miles per hour. We'll be crossing over Highway 31 in the next few minutes. Let's go ahead and put on that reflectivity, Alden, and we'll show you what you normally see on your radar. So this is kind of a jagged squall line of storms that we have crossing areas along and south of the Bluegrass Parkway. And pretty soon, areas west of I-65 will be clear of that severe weather threat. And it will only take, I'd say, about another hour before the severe weather threat is out of our entire viewing area. So this is going to be a short window of concern. And we do want to let you know, if you live in Louisville, this threat is going to stay south of Louisville and really all areas north of the Bluegrass Parkway and the Western Kentucky Parkway do not have a threat of severe weather. We're watching areas south of Louisville right now. So this is that area of red that indicates a tornado warning. It does include the New Haven area, and notice that it stays south of Bardstown right now and just south of the Bluegrass Parkway. So it looks like we've kind of got a merger of two of these cells, and it's that juncture right there that we're watching, that notch that could produce that spin-up tornado. This is just off to the northwest of the New Haven area. There you can see the green, which is going toward the radar. Red is away from the radar with that Doppler effect. So this is that potential area that could have some rotation. So near the Roanoke area, let's go here, Alden, around 52 and 583 and zoom in really tight here. Let's go down to street level and see if we can zoom in on some more locations here. So there you can see Blue Gap, you are in this tornado warned area. There you can see where 31 and 52 to come together and into the Lyons area. Let's go in even closer on that same view right there, Alden, and we should be able to get some neighborhoods and some community roads, and you can get the street identifier there as well. So there you can see along 52, Kings Road, Holton Valley Road, Lyons Avenue, Edlin Road, and into the Holt Road area. So just some neighborhoods that you might be familiar with there in the northern LaRue County area. This is a tornado warning that we have in place until 2:15. It probably will not take that long for this strong to severe thunderstorm to move in and out of your area if you are in northern LaRue County and southern Nelson County. So here's northern LaRue County, and then here's southern Nelson County. And the tornado warning goes into northwestern sections of Marion County, Kentucky, and also into the western areas of Washington County, Kentucky. So very near, also just north of Lebanon and Springfield, Kentucky. Just kind of an early heads up. That tornado warning is very close to your area. And even if you do not get a spin-up tornado, there's the potential for some isolated damaging wind gusts, maybe some small, medium-sized hail as well, and some frequent lightning and heavy rainfall. Just want to play it safe and be inside. If you're in that tornado warned area, we want you in your place of shelter. Lowest level of your home is the best place to be, away from the doors and the windows. Get as much space as you can between you and the outside of your home. So find that sturdy shelter, as we mentioned, away from the windows, preferably the basement. Get out of mobile homes if you have time to do so and find that sturdier shelter. You always have that severe weather safety kit ready to go. First aid, flashlights, candles, charge cells, pillows, blankets, anything that can help you block debris. If you don't have a basement, maybe you're in your bathroom. Maybe you want to get in the bathtub and kind of cover up, or the interior closet until that threat is gone. And the good thing here is this is a line that is moving pretty rapidly. It is not going to take too much time to get this threat in and out of your area. Now, we earlier had a severe thunderstorm warning for Hart County. It looks like that threat has dissipated for the moment. But just as quickly as we had that tornado warning come out just east of Elizabethtown, you never know. So we're going to watch this whole area because we have some unstable air right here. It's pretty juicy. It's pretty ripe for the chance of some strong to severe storms for another, I'd say, 45 minutes. That will be watching these areas from Washington down to Marion, Taylor, Greene, Adair, and Hart counties, and also LaRue County and southern Nelson County. Won't take too long before it's going to be moving out of our viewing area and into the Lexington market. So strong line of storms, lots of lightning and thunder and heavy rainfall, and one area they're watching for the potential of a spin-up tornado. Right now, some of that rotation is moving through that northern tip of LaRue County, and then it's going to be heading into southern Nelson County. And then here you can see Loretto and just out to the west of Springfield, Kentucky. So just parts of Washington and also the northwestern corner of Marion County under that tornado warned area. So still seeing a little bit of a notch there. Alden, anything in chat, any reports coming in so far?
No reports yet, Ben. The Weather Service says it's not really the tightest couplet, which is obviously what we're seeing there as well. So they're kind of taking a head start on this because as we've seen over the last week, we see what appear to be somewhat weak signatures, but then they actually do turn out to be brief spin up a tornado. So they're being a little bit proactive there and erring on the side of caution in issuing that tornado warning. But again, that goes until 2:15 p.m. It's moving to the east at 35 miles per hour. And I don't see any discussion about any other additional warnings in our area at the moment as well. So we're watching those couple different areas of rotation kind of right here just to the west of State Highway 583. And we'll get a new radar scan in here within the next few minutes as well. And we'll see how that has progressed or changed. But otherwise, this is really the only significant threat that we have at the moment.
Let's go back to the regional area of our the radar view and just show you that in case you are concerned, you're seeing us on your television, and you're saying, hey, do I have a severe weather threat? It's just a small part of our viewing area that is under the threat of severe weather, and that is from basically the Bluegrass Parkway to the Cumberland Parkway. So that does include areas just south of Bardstown to Lebanon, Campbellsville, Columbia, Greensburg, Munfordville. Right now, that line is starting to move over your area. And so as this moves over Interstate 65, all areas west of I-65 will be in the clear as far as severe weather. There is no severe weather threat for Metro Louisville. There's no severe weather threat for southern Indiana. So don't worry about that. The severe thunderstorm watch goes until 8 p.m. But for our area, this will likely be canceled within the hour. So this is a very, very short window of a severe weather threat for Kentuckiana. We do have, again, this area that we have the tornado warning that we're watching very closely. And Alden made a good point. This is radar indicated. Even with it being radar indicated, we do not have a real good signature, or it doesn't look like there's real tight rotation indicating a big threat of a tornado at this time. But definitely playing it safe with that little notch right there. They can sometimes put down little spin up tornadoes very rapidly. Sometimes can get caught off guard. So we don't want you to be caught off guard. So that's why we have that tornado warning in this area in northern LaRue County, southern Nelson County, northwestern Marion County, and then the western section of Washington County as well. So here's a look south of Bardstown down Highway 31. This is the area that has some rotation right now, very near the New Haven area. You want to be in your place of shelter. Where the green is next to the red is what we do not want. So that indicates the green is the rain droplets being picked up by the radar heading toward the radar, and then the red is the raindrops moving away from the radar. And when you see that curvature right there and those colors right next to each other, that indicates the potential for that spin up or that rotation. So this is a look at 52 and then Highway 31. It's going to be crossing over the Culvertown area in the next few minutes, right around 2:47. Going to be very near the Greenbrier area. So this is tracking due east at 35. Let's go ahead and put another track on that as it continues that direction there, Alden. Again, this is going to be heading towards the Yosemite area at around 145. Culver, we'll put another track on there for you. Into Dant at about 150, Loretto 155, Burke Spring at around 2 o'clock. And then perhaps, if it holds together, near Springfield, Kentucky at around 2 o'clock. So again, a weak spin-up tornado possible with that area right there, right around 583 and 31. Let's go ahead and zoom into about right where my hand is there to give some folks a heads up. We'll go back to street level. Let's go in advance of where that is because that's a little bit dated. So we'll go around 247. Let's go somewhere in this general area right there. We'll go ahead and go to street level, see if we can find some roads to help you out and take a look at some of the neighborhoods near the Blue Gap area. So this is zooming into roads right along Highway 31. There's Haven Ridge Road, looks like Wood Loop, and then we've got Price Creek and Price Creek Loop, along Highway 31 East. So this is just south of Bardstown and moving into the Nelson County area. Along 247, please be seeking shelter if you live along the Whiskey Run Road area, and maybe just areas north and south of that, if that is familiar to you. So zooming in to street level here to try to just give you a better idea. Might have to get the street identifier out there if that helps you out there, Alden, to identify some of the roads and some of the routes here in northern LaRue County is where we're looking at, just kind of hyper zoomed in to take a look at some of the neighborhood roads. And also into southern Nelson County. So looks like that road does not want to behave and pop up at this time. So let's go ahead and zoom back out, and there you can see where we're looking at near Blue Grap and Culvertown and Lyons. Please be seeking shelter at this time. So it does look like that threat of any tornado or spin up has moved east of the Roanoke area in northern LaRue County. So it looks like you guys are in the clear from that severe weather threat. There's the green and the red next to each other, the potential for an isolated spin up tornado near the Lyons area. It looks like the worst of this will just be to the north of New Haven, moving over 52. It's about to move over Highway 31. That is south of Bardstown, Kentucky, and they'll be moving over 247 here in the next couple of minutes as well. Let's go ahead and back out one more time here, Alden. We do just want to give you kind of a recap. We have only one tornado warned area, no other warnings at this time. And then we do have that severe thunderstorm watch for areas south of the Bluegrass Parkway to Columbia, Kentucky. Looks like one new warning there just off to the northeast of Lexington. So very, very brief window here in the early to mid-afternoon hours that we're watching for that potential severe weather well to the south of Louisville. This is where that air is still pretty unstable. And so if as these storms are feeding on this air right here, they could still be pretty strong. So that threat still exists for some isolated tornadoes and also damaging wind gusts here from Springfield, Washington County, down through Marion County, including Lebanon, going into Taylor, Greene, Adair counties, Campbellsville, Greensburg, Columbia. Next half hour, 45 minutes, just be extra weather aware and alert just in case there are any warnings that are issued for you. Of course, we're watching it very closely as well. Thankfully, this doesn't look as organized here. There was a severe thunderstorm warning for the western areas of Hart County. That has expired and been canceled, but we have some heavy rainfall near the Munfordville area and Bonneville locations too. So that's beginning to move over Interstate 65. Thankfully, Elizabethtown is in the clear. No more severe weather threat for your area. I know you had that severe thunderstorm warning just a few minutes ago. That is now gone. So it looks like this tornado warned storm, that area of rotation is moving east at 35, about to move over Highway 31. So this is, again, this is probably, I'd say, about 15 miles to the southwest of Bardstown, Kentucky, and staying just south of the Bluegrass Parkway. So it looks like we've got a new severe thunderstorm warning out, but here's the latest track heading towards Howardstown at 1:45, Loretto at 2 o'clock, St. Mary area at about 2:10 into Lebanon. So we're talking into Marion County at about 2:20, into the Reynoldstown area at about 2:25. Let's take a look at where we do have that severe thunderstorm warning, Alden. It looks like it's the same storm that is also part of that severe thunderstorm or the tornado warning, but now includes a broader area just in case we get some isolated damaging winds. You just kind of watch these little bow echoes every once in a while. That indicates an inflow jet coming down and pushing out the rain, and that's an indication that we could have some damaging straight line winds, so need to watch that. So we have this latest severe thunderstorm warning. Is that until 2:15 as well?
Is until 2:30 Eastern time, and kind of like what we were seeing on that tornado warning as well. You were just mentioning how the structure of it doesn't look as organized as what it was before. And if we look at that velocity again, what I've noticed there, you keep talking about those Boeing segments. That Boeing segment kind of right here, I'll circle it really quick, like right there, it's almost as if it's kind of transitioning more to a straight line wind threat. But even with those straight line wind threats and those straight line wind segments, you can still get those brief spin up tornadoes. But it looks like they're letting that tornado warning continue as it is right now. Don't see any talk about canceling it or issuing a new one. I'm inclined to think that maybe they aren't going to issue a new one since they put out that severe thunderstorm warning instead, which does have that tornado possible tag on it.
Yeah, and keep it on this view right here. So near New Haven is the top end of the bow echo that we're watching. So there's the Boeing line segment, that curvature in the radar. So there's a reason why that happens. There's a jet pushing out on the raindrops right there, and that can produce some straight line winds. So this is straight line wind threat. And then on the ends of a bow echo, you can get what we call bookend vortices. So you get little possible spin ups on usually the northern end, but sometimes on the southern end as well. You can see a little notch on the southern end, a more significant notch on the northern end. So the New Haven area, that threat is about to move off to the east of your location. It's the area where we could have a little spin up is still within that tornado warned area. So that placement of the tornado warning still looks good to include Dant, Loretto, and to nearing Burke Spring and Manton. So this is in southern Nelson County right now, and then we'll be heading into northwestern Marion County, and then this is the western section of Washington County, Kentucky. So still have that tornado warned area for almost another half hour until 2:15. So we will definitely stay on here with you and watch this as this event unfolds here south of the Bluegrass Parkway. So you've got the green and reds next to each other. This is the top end of a bow echo, possible rotation right here. We do not have a confirmation that a tornado is on the ground. We just want you to be safe and in your place of shelter just in case. So
they're also saying in that they just put out kind of an addendum there to that tornado warning, saying that even though it's just radar indicated, there is also the potential for significant straight line winds. So that harkens back to what you were saying earlier about still being inside, still taking these tornado warnings and severe thunderstorm warnings seriously, because even if there's not a tornado, as we have seen here all year long, we've had significant straight line wind events, and that's when we could still get some fairly significant damage from it. So still go ahead and treat all of these warnings as if they're tornado warnings and stay inside.
Yeah, straight line winds can get up to 100 miles per hour. That can be stronger than an EF0 of 80 or 90 miles per hour winds. So sometimes straight line winds can do just as much or more damage than the small areas that weak tornadoes can do in those weak spin ups. So if you're under that severe thunderstorm warning, just stay inside for a good 15 minutes. That threat will be in and out and will not last long. You're only really concerned about that leading edge. That is where you can get that brief spin up. That's where you can get some of the straight line winds. That's where we watch out for those bow echoes, all those threats that we see on the leading edge. And sometimes you might see some really ominous clouds if you're looking out to that direction. But we want to give you a heads up to not look outside. We want you to be in your place of shelter if that severe thunderstorm warning or tornado warning is in your area. So we do have some more properties here, some more real estate under that severe thunderstorm warning. That includes most of Washington and also Marion County. So that does include Highway 68 areas around Lebanon and then also around Springfield, Kentucky. So this is now well east of Elizabethtown. Threat is near Bardstown, but we'll be moving out of Bardstown very, very rapidly. And really, I think you're just looking at some heavy rain. It's going to be east of you here very shortly. But this is the Bluegrass Parkway, basically from Bardstown to Lexington, south, down through Marion County, again, including Willisburg, Springfield, Lebanon, and surrounding communities. You'll want to stay inside in your place of shelter until that line moves through your area. Once we get past this line right here, that is no longer what we would call Kentuckiana or the WHAS 11 viewing area. Once it heads towards Harrodsburg, that is moving into the Lexington market. So this is not going to take very long for that threat to move through. Also notice that line has now moved east of I-65, south of Elizabethtown. So it is now east of Sonora. It is now east of Bonnieville and east of Munfordville. So you guys are now in the clear of the towns that I just mentioned. So anywhere along Interstate 65 and west, no severe weather. No severe weather in Metro Louisville either. This is just from the Bluegrass Parkway down to the Cumberland Parkway. that we're watching here, I would say just for another half hour or so. The line is moving generally east at around 35 miles per hour, so it's moving fairly quickly, and it's not real wide either. Notice that heavy rainfall is maybe only a good 5 miles wide, so it will not take long for that threat. Just be safe. Head to your place of shelter if you have a warning issued for your area. There you see again 5 or 10 miles wide in the widest stretch of that really heavy rainfall. So this is not going to be a long-lived threat. Just kind of a brief inconvenience for your afternoon, really, to just take shelter if that warning is issued for your area. This is all, I'd say, about, for the most part, about 40, 50 miles southeast of Louisville is where we have this area of storms moving through right now, and then even farther away from Louisville for points off to the south. So this threat might linger just a little bit longer once we get into the southern areas of Greene and Adair counties, because we still have that southern stretch that is going to be moving into this unstable air. This is definitely the warmest part of Kentuckiana today. You guys had the most sunshine and have warmed up into the upper 70s and lower 80s. In fact, Alden, can you put on the temperatures around the area? I think we're going to see a pretty big contrast, and I want to show you why the severe weather threat is well south of Louisville. And a big reason for that is the contrast in temperatures. So yeah, wow, big difference here. There's about a 20-degree difference in temperatures. You've got only lower 60s, 61 in Madison, 65 in Louisville. And then look at this all the way south, 81 in Campbellsville, 81 in Columbia. We need to get your temperatures in the 60s, and then we can say goodbye to any severe weather threat as that cold front will sweep on through pretty rapidly. Look at the rapid temperature drop now down to 68 in Litchfield, 69 in Hodgenville. So it is significantly warmer where the air is still ripe for the potential of severe weather here south of the Bluegrass Parkway into the Cumberland Parkway regions. So all right, let's get back to that tornado warned area. We'll put another track on it for you as it is moving into areas south of Bardstown, moving east at around 35 miles per hour. There you can see this does include, this is within a severe thunderstorm warning, by the way, and just west of Springfield. So Loretto, you want to be seeking shelter at this time. It looks like the threat is going to be now moving out of northern LaRue County here in just the next couple of minutes. So Alden has put on where it originates here. This is that area where it has some rotation, possibility of a weak spin-up tornado around the Nearings area into Burke Spring at about 2 o'clock. So only in about 5 or 10 minutes, that threat heading your direction into Sissylville at about 2:10 Eastern Time. Springfield heads up at around 2:15. Thompsonville at about 2:20 into Mackville, 2:30, Stewart, 2:30 into Perryville, and moving out of our viewing area at about 2:40, 2:45. So here's Highway 150. So you are in that area just east of the tornado warned area. So just an early heads up. If you're around Springfield, east of Springfield down 150 to the Perryville area, you're going to be in that zone just east of that tornado warned area. Yeah, Alden?
That threat exiting LaRue County soon. They have gone ahead and expired that severe thunderstorm warning for LaRue County. It also looks like they might have just, correction, they didn't. I thought perhaps they just trimmed that tornado warning back just a little bit, but really not seeing that area of rotation that we were seeing before. It's not nearly as defined, but maybe around Holy Cross we have some broad rotation right there. Those greens are raindrops that are moving toward the radar, so we have some little bit of inflow right there, or at least higher up in the atmosphere. But near Holy Cross, possibly seeing some of that broader rotation. Still don't have any damage reports from this. Don't have too many new updates there from the Weather Service as well. It's almost 2 o'clock right now, so that tornado warning goes for another 20 minutes before they'll likely let that expire. But as we look further along down the line, we're still going to keep an eye on maybe areas like this to the west of Magnolia, where we have some couplet looking features. But even then, within the last 20 minutes or so, it has not appeared as if we even have as much of a strong bowing feature as what we had earlier. So as we continue to move to the east, as this line continues to move to the east, it is still going to enter that more favorable environment where they've had a lot more sunshine. It's been very sunny in Marion County and in Washington County, Kentucky, is also Taylor County. So we could still see some re-strengthening there. But in the meantime, I don't see any features feature that looks too concerning right now. And in fact, I mean, I see discussions in the chat about that area of rotation being really diffuse, Ben.
Yeah, if you want to query some of these pixels here, just along this part, we're talking probably 40, 50 mile per hour winds. And notice the color is pretty uniform, so we don't see any extra highlighted areas that look brighter. So the color palette isn't picking up on winds stronger than 60 miles per hour right now. So that's good. We want to keep it like that as much as we can. The threat is when we see these little notches, as Alden was talking about, those little inflow notches, that's where we need to watch out for the potential of a spin-up tornado. Probably some very ominous looking clouds here, very low clouds as that leading edge is moving towards your area. If you see that, obviously you just want to stay inside, let the winds and the heavy rain pass on by. So we don't see any severe winds at this time, but we're going to watch that line very closely. As Alden mentioned, it's going to be heading into a very unstable atmosphere where there's a lot of instability, which is just the fuel that the storms have to work with to become possibly strong to severe. The main threat here is some isolated damaging straight line winds. Very low threat that we could have an isolated spin-up tornado. Nonetheless, we do have that tornado warned area that continues for about 15 more minutes for that little section of northwestern parts of Marion County. This is northwest of Lebanon, and then also southwestern areas of Washington County. That threat staying off to the southwest of Willisburg right now. Although there is still a severe thunderstorm warning for most of Washington County, including Willisburg and down to Springfield. And then also much of Marion County does have that severe thunderstorm warning until 2:30. That does include Raywick into the Lebanon area. Let's go ahead and back it up farther here, Alden, and then we will go along that stretch of the squall line east at 35, so we can put a track from basically there down south, and then we'll show you when it's going to be moving out of our viewing area, and that threat will be over for the rest of today. And actually we'll see the severe weather threat end for several more days, and it looks like it'll stay pretty quiet until another chance of some showers and thunderstorms Friday and perhaps into early Saturday. So this is a line, this is a track, I should say, along that line as it moves to the east at 35, heading to Campbellsville at about 2:10. You'll get some heavy rain, lightning, thunder, some brief gusty winds, maybe some small hail. Haven't had any real significant hail reports, thankfully, either. Heading into Mansville at about 2:20, Danville at 2:50, Waynesburg at about 3:10. Those areas are out of our viewing area, and Berea at about 2:35.
And the highest wind gust I've seen so far is only about 50 miles per hour. So, and you also mentioned hail, worth mentioning. I mean, obviously just last week we had some baseball-sized hail in the area, but we haven't had any hail really larger than the size of a quarter. So it's hail, if there is any, less than a quarter, less than the size of a quarter, which is good. And that's not the kind of hail that's going to be causing any damage or anything of in that regards. But that 50 mile per hour wind gust was in Hart County just a few minutes ago at 12:55 Central Time. So not really seeing anything that's too severe with that right now. We only have that one section that we're watching, and they're probably going to let that tornado warning right out until 2:15 Eastern Time as well.
Yeah, and it'll be nice to get the severe weather threat out of here in the next half hour or so. And any day, I always say, in the month of May that we can mark off the calendar and escape severe weather is definitely a good day, because we are in the peak of severe weather season. The only ingredients for severe weather, again, as I keep mentioning, south of the Bluegrass Parkway to the Cumberland Parkway, just for a few more minutes. This will not last long. It's been a very short window and a very small area in our viewing area under that severe weather threat. So I do want to mention that a lot of the area, no severe weather threat whatsoever. So if you're north of Elizabethtown, you're north of Bardstown, no severe weather threat. Metro Louisville is in the clear, southern Indiana in the clear, no worries there. In all areas now west of Interstate 65, no longer in a severe weather threat. So just watching these areas now east of Bardstown. So good news there. You were right on the edge there of that severe weather threat, Bardstown. And I know you have been in this little section of that severe thunderstorm warning. That is now east of you. So Bardstown in the clear of any severe weather threat for the rest of today as well. So that severe thunderstorm watch will be canceled for you guys too. This is not looking significant whatsoever anymore. There was that, that little notch. We're not even seeing any green next to the red anymore. So that possible signature or that little rotation that we had there in northern LaRue County and now moving into northwestern
There's a
Marion
new tornado
County.
warning,
Yeah.
Ben. That's, let's see, where is this one for? This is for Bourbon and Nichols County. Okay, that's not in our area.
So that's going to be off to the east, it looks like. So this, again, this does not look very significant. So even though you guys are under that tornado warning for a little bit longer here, this is the far southwestern corner of Washington County. So there you can see Springfield west of you. Good news here, not looking impressive at this time. Yes, some gusty winds, heavy rain, lightning, thunder, all the things you would get with any thunderstorm, but not looking as organized whatsoever now around the Loretto area. So good news here is what we want within that tornado warned area, but also within the severe thunderstorm warning that we have for much of Marion and Washington counties until 2:30. So that tornado warned area, it looks like I think it's going to outpace the actual polygon or this the shape right here that you see that is the tornado warning. I think it's going to move out of the actual tornado warned area before it expires, and so, or they might expire it even sooner, as that threat looks like it is diminishing around those areas. But still, just kind of stay inside, just play it safe if you're around Mackville, Springfield, Willisburg, under that severe thunderstorm warning until 2:30. Also St. Mary, that heavy rain is about to move to your direction, and also into Lebanon. And that's it for the WHS 11 viewing areas. That threat will be moving out. Let's go ahead and back to the regional view and just look at the overall situation here, Alden. And notice you mentioned that tornado warning that was issued. I don't even see it on the map.
It's very tiny there to the east of Lexington.
Oh, I do see that. Okay, so this is the latest tornado warned area northeast of Lexington. It is a very small area right there. So this is looking pretty clustery there. Notice this is not a well-organized squall line. We're not seeing widespread damaging winds. If we get any reports, I think it's going to be very isolated, and this is going to stay now well to the southeast. We only have really maybe a handful of counties that we need to watch for another maybe 20 to 30 minutes for that threat of severe weather. It looks like that threat is now east of I-65, although just watching these areas too, sometimes Adair County, you have to watch you guys for maybe a little bit longer sometimes, as it takes a little while longer for that threat to move through. But once we get the rain, that means that stable air is coming. That front is going to be moving through, and we'll get rid of those 80-degree temperatures. It will drop it down to the 60s, and once that happens, you know you're in the clear as far as severe weather as we get rid of that juicy, unstable air. So again, just a little bit while longer with that tornado warned area just to the west of Springfield, northwest of Lebanon. And in fact, as I mentioned with that latest radar update here at 2:03 p.m. under Tuesday afternoon, it looks like that line's going to move out of the tornado warned area in the next couple of scans. And so it looks like that will be expired a little bit early, that tornado warning. Still have that severe thunderstorm warning for Lebanon, for Springfield, for the potential of isolated damaging winds in excess of 60 miles per hour. Not seeing any well-organized areas along this line at this time. Greensburg, Campbellsville, the heavy rain's about to move over your area. Probably just wait it out for a little while inside. Notice it doesn't take long to dry out once that line moves off to the east. As we expand out a little bit, Alden, notice Elizabethtown already drying out. Bullitt County, Metro Louisville already drying out. The good news is we'll have a decent amount of dry time once this moves to the east as well. We're going to have a lot of sunshine and some really pleasant conditions for the rest of today, and then actually for the next couple of days as well, once we get this little mess to move off to the east that is now south of the Bluegrass Parkway and heading towards the Cumberland Parkway near Columbia. So heads up, just stay weather alert for a little bit longer if you're around Campbellsville and Greensburg, and also around Springfield and Lebanon, Kentucky. Let's put another little track there along that leading edge, Alden, and move it east at 35, and we will see how quickly it starts to move out of our viewing area and into, again, the Lexington market. So there's that track along that leading edge, and that's really the only concern is that leading edge. That's where the strong winds are confined along these squall lines. You're really not worried about that back edge right there. So this is a look at when you might see some strong winds into the Campbellsville area at about 2:15 to 2:20. So not too long. Notice that's just on your doorstep here, just out to the west of you guys in Campbellsville, into the Mansville area at about 2:30. Danville is outside of our viewing area at 2:50. And same thing for Bryanttsville and Waynesburg at 3 and after 3 o'clock. That is well outside of our viewing area. So it doesn't look like it's going to be much longer until we will send it back to regular programming here. Looks like Alden, that line's about to move out of the tornado warned area anyway.
Yeah, they haven't said anything new about what they plan to do with that, so I am going to go out on a limb and believe they're going to let that expire. Also, once you get within about 10 minutes of the end time of any type of warning, severe thunderstorm warning or tornado warning, the Weather Service actually can't cancel it. Their system doesn't allow them to, so then it just automatically goes into that kind of expiry mode. But as we've continued to look at that rotation there, it looks even weaker now than what it does. There maybe are some parts of the storm that are rotating, but that's just a typical thunderstorm feature because a lot of those storms do tend to rotate a little bit once they get up to a certain strength and a certain size. And I've been looking off on our other computer bin. These storms are fairly tall. The tops of these clouds are going up to about 35 to 40,000 feet, with the actual rain extending up to about 30,000 feet. So they are potent. It's a really small area. And in fact, actually, they just put in the chat that they're going to let that tornado warning expire for Marion, Nelson, and Washington counties in Kentucky. So once we hit 2:15, that tornado warning is going to drop, and then we'll see that tornado threat coming to an end. They don't have any other severe thunderstorm warnings out either. They've just put out special weather statements for these cells in Taylor and Greene counties. So nothing severe with those, but you will likely have some briefly torrential rain, maybe a little bit of small hail, penny to nickel size, and gusty winds under 60 miles per hour.
Yeah, and Alden, with that threat diminishing and this tornado warning expiring, and actually it looks like that leading edge is about to move out of the tornado warned area. Just stay inside, stay in your place of shelter if you are under this severe thunderstorm warning until about 2:30 here. Again, that does include New Market, near Bradfordsville, Lebanon, Gravel Switch. This is right along Highway 68. This does include much of Marion County and then also much of Washington County under that severe thunderstorm warning. Not seeing anything significant or imminent threatening here around Willisburg in Springfield, just some heavy rainfall for you guys. So at the moment, it looks like that threat is diminishing. On behalf of Storm Team Meteorologist Alden German, I'm Chief Meteorologist Ben Pine, and we'll go ahead and send it back to regular programming. You can always get your interactive radar at WHS11.com. on our WHAS 11 app as well. We will have some information while it's needed at the bottom of your screen. We're going to keep a very close eye on this little area under a threat for about 20 more minutes. But again, after that, the rest of today, we're going to be in the clear. Stay safe.